everyone, welcome to the Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hey everybody.
And today we are talking about Dukes of Peril by Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue. The last Dukes book.
Mm-hmm.
We're 6 books in of the Royal series. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So they're all trilogies. And so there's 3 more trilogies after this, which is very exciting. Princes is up next.
Yeah, it's Princes, and I keep forgetting about the counts, which is so ridiculous. I keep forgetting about them when I'm thinking in my head of like who's there, because I'm like, there's so much part of the Dukes.
Yeah.
But then I'm always like, okay, we have the Lords, and we have the Dukes, and we have the Princes, and then we have the Barons, and I'm like, who's else? And then I'm like, oh yeah, the counts.
Even though Lavinia Lucia, well, they are in, quite the conundrum. Like they've fallen apart. Their head of, their king is supposedly dead. So arguably,
I hope he really
is dead. Well, there's some speculation, but I think he's dead. I think he really died.
I think it's time for him to be dead.
I think so too.
And that way we can have someone. I'm interested. I kind of wish we were getting. I trust Angel and Sam, fully trust them, but I kind of wish we were getting the counts, because I'm so curious on how they're going to pick themselves back up. Like who's gonna get in there, who's gonna be, what's gonna happen with the counts.
That is a cool way to start it, because every other house has had a king looming over them. So it would be very cool to get into a story where there isn't a king looming over.
Because even Perez is gone.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like fresh. Well, and I think Barron's.
But who had the dog? Who ended up with their dog? Somebody else. There was another count who was still around who took
who had the
family dog. So I bet maybe they'll be the one that
maybe like through whatever happens in Princes, like however much time passes. I think Princes is going to be the second half of the semester, though. I think it was purposeful that Dukes, this is my suspicion, that Dukes only took place one semester and then kind of fast forwarded to the next semester in like the epilogue, because, or it was like winter before the next semester started. So they would all be there, and Verity could become the princes for that second semester. So then maybe with the new semester will be counts next, and whatever will happen, it'll be them picking themselves up. And then I remember in a group discussion, the Angel had said, like, you guys aren't ready for Barons. It made it seem like it was going to be last. The Barons.
I'm just so excited for the Barons. I'm excited for it all. Like, the Barons are so intrigued by that.
Yeah. And will all the kings be killed? Will it all be new generation? Will if any king survives, I think it would be Remy's father. Like that creepy guy.
Maybe we'll see like redemption in him.
No. I think if he survives, he'll be locked away where Remy's mom was locked away or something.
Oh yeah, maybe. Anyways, okay.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta get into Dukes.
So with the Dukes, first of all, I love seeing our lords pop up here and there in it. Like there was the carnival, and like Killer and Sai were like competing against each other, like on a strongman contest. Like just little things like that, and like the ending too. Pretty Nick going to see. Yeah, just all of it.
The ending. Yes, the ending, the start of something, I think, with the ladies.
I love it. This is a good story. All 3 books were great. This last book, I felt as a reader very content and happy at the end. I'm looking forward to the more, but like I like where we're leaving the Dukes and the Duchess. And I felt like we got such a good story because we have all these things weaved in there. Plus, like, we got so many character arcs, like Pretty Nick, and then Lavinia and Sai, and well, I'm listing all the characters, and then my Remy, like I was just like,
well, because you took them from such a dark place doing some like pretty terrible things, especially Nick, who arguably, Remy, I think, was the one who was probably the most likable and did the least harm, that they had him cheat last book. So
Mm-hmm.
he had to redeem himself, and a lot of it was his mental health. People weren't believing him.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had Nick, who loved her, and it was very of mice and men. He just didn't know how to loved her too hard. Their whole story was she didn't know how to be loved, and all he could do was love her too hard, like
Well,
squeeze her.
I just loved him. He's like, why won't you love me? Like, you know,
I don't know how to love.
I just
I
love
don't
you
know
so
that I know how to love.
much.
I did it all for you.
Yeah.
And it's that crazy stalker love. Like he's like the best. And people ask for that all the time. That crazy stalker. Like there's this meme of like, I think Angel posted, I've seen a lot of people post it, of like a girl like kidnapped and tied up, and like it's like this could be you, but you keep running away, and she's like on the guy's lap. And like that's totally Lavinia and
Yeah.
Nick. So he's redeemed by all these small acts
Mm-hmm.
because he betrayed her, he turned her over, and he felt bad immediately. Sai saved her, which really racked Sai up in my book. So I had really liked Sai since then, and I felt like their relationship in book 2 really grew. But then again in book 3, he like did some like dubious things. And it's like, how do you come back from that? It's like,
Yeah.
reflected, they talked. The point is, they took these to these like places that normally like people are like, I can't read a book like that. Characters like that aren't redeemed. I can't do cheating. I can't do this consent with the main character being questionable. Yet they redeemed them and made us like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it just blows my mind how they make these characters like not only like redeemed in a satisfying way, but like you really freaking love them, and they're like these like flawed, dark, well-rounded like characters that seem like real people.
Yeah. Well, because that is real. It's so real.
Yeah.
It's real
The
to have
writing,
issues and to be going through this and then deal with it. And with Remy, I mean, I love Remy, but like, I loved in this book where like Sai finally was like, I actually need to step back from him and let him figure it out. And like Remy did good when Remy had to finally rely on himself and like realize that he needed to do something. Like, I was so proud of Remy. I'm just so proud of him. And it's like so funny when yes, the whole group, and then Sai and then the all working together for Sai, like it just, all just, oh gosh, just so good.
It's harder to talk about the ones that are like, there's something extra about it, like extra special. You know what I mean?
I'm having word problems.
There's a je ne sais quoi about it. There's just this something extra special about the way these books are written and the characters and the stories. There's just something, I don't know. It's just really, really good, right? Really good character writing and really good story writing that come together. Because sometimes books are like, oh, the story's good, but the characters are a little weak. Some of them kind of seem like the same character, or I didn't like this character. No, not with this series. It's like the characters are good, the characters are good, but the story, but it's boring. It drags on. No, the characters and the story. Good. And I saw somebody say something about Lavinia. I got so upset. I didn't say anything, but I was like, how could you not like my girl? She had so much character growth. I thought she
so
was like,
much.
I was funky in the good ways.
Yes. I was again so proud of her in this book when she finally like set her foot down and was like, these are my dukes. You don't touch them unless I say you can. Like the fight, like I loved her finally, like, because she was always, you're in the corner, you're in the background, don't mess up. She had so much damage from her father and her sister and everything that for her to finally get to that point of being like, enough is enough. No, I was just I loved it. I was too. So proud of her.
I loved her character. I loved, her hard working on the clock, just like devouring books. She was
the clock.
For so long. Yes, the clock. I love that the bomb thing came to fruition, because I think it'd been hinted at, but it I don't know. And I just love it at the end how it just became so annoying. And they were after all that work, with the poor Archduke, our Duke Kitty could not take it.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. At first be like, it's
It's
not going. And then they're
loud.
like, it does it every hour.
That was so funny. Like
But they
after all of that time,
they figured out how to make it only do,
like at like 12 and 12, I
yeah.
think. Yeah. And
Yeah.
people, and they said people would come and gather and watch
Yeah.
it.
That
So
was
I
really
thought
nice.
it
I think that's
was
great for
the community.
their north, right? Their north
Uh,
side.
I
Because Lords are
think so.
south
They're not
side.
south side. I
Yeah,
don't know if
Lords are
they're.
south side, so they're north side. Yeah. So I think that's great for the north side to finally
Are you
have that.
sure?
No, I'm
Wait,
not.
are they west side?
No, I thought they were north side.
Why did I think north side was
Okay,
like?
I'm looking it up because Angel just posted that question about
Yes,
seeing that.
which I saw. I always go to the beginning of books. For people who don't know, Angel had posted a question in the group about like if you saw like the Duke's like map and like the little breakdown of like the houses. Because sometimes Kindle will start you before all that free stuff. You
Yeah.
always have to go back and you have to like look at the notes and the trigger warnings and the dedications. Even if you don't want to read the trigger warnings, you never know if there's going to be a map or something in there. And some authors put their like back of book stuff in their beginning of the book now. I've noticed. So that's
Sorry,
important.
it's taking me a while to find her group. There it is. Okay.
Okay.
Where is it? Okay. North side. No, counts are north side.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew
They're
it.
west. Dukes are
I
the
knew
west.
it. I was right. Okay, I
Okay.
feel good.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to be so excited.
No, that's great because I was just thinking
because I
order.
remember north
South,
was like
north.
toddy, like the north side.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So yeah, because I haven't seen this. So I know the south side because I know my lords.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. Yes, you know me.
And now I love my dukes. And it's just it's so funny. And I feel like there's so much of this story that I can be talking about. And then I noticed, and I haven't read The Devil May Care, right? But there was a cameo
There was, yeah, the
from is it Heston? Is that how you say his name?
I believe so. That's
So
how
that was
Alexis
interesting.
says
So
it.
now I want to read that book because I want to figure out why are we so excited that he's in this.
I think it's like character shout out, like you get excited, like how we're excited when we see Tristan or whatever.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I love it when they should freaking Tristan though with the bomb, like dude. But I love that. I love that. I love that. That was, Letitia's backup, and that we figured that out, and then kaboom, I loved it. Yeah.
And she really did, and it showed even in her twisted way. She had loved her sister. Like, because Lavinia did care a lot about a person that wasn't nice to her, but that's all she ever knew.
Yes.
So it makes sense. And it kind of makes sense to why she put up with what she did and why she wouldn't put up with what she did and the whole journey. And I'm so interested. Again, I'm very picky with novellas, but I would read a novella about Pretty Nick and Sai's parents. Like, I'd be interested to hear their story. That would be like, that's a novella I'm interested in.
They were so hinted at a couple of things.
Yeah.
And I was like with Sal, and I'm like, what happened? And are we ever gonna find out what happened? Is this gonna be like a extra thing we get for the Dukes?
Or maybe it'll come into play later. It seems like a lot of the past, like the parents' generation, comes back. Daniel Payne. I think with the princes, what we're going to see, especially considering he lost, the heir, which is so important to them, and he's adopted. I've got so many predictions for princes. It's ridiculous.
I'm so excited. And at first I wasn't thinking too much about it because you get so like stuck in this dark world that you're like, this is normal. This is so normal. And then like literally, like I think I was yesterday cleaning and I was thinking about, Verdi saying, yeah, she would try out to be a princess. And I was like, then I was listening to the Lords cleaning. That was it. And I was like, oh, that's her signing up to try to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, so not like, That's so weird to me to think about. I'm gonna just, yeah, I'll get pregnant for the greater good with these guys I don't even care for. Like, I was like, wow, that is such a sacrifice. It's so interesting because you know she's going to end up caring for them and
Yeah.
loving them.
And then they're gonna get
But
mad
how
at
are we
her when
gonna
they
get
find
there?
out. They're gonna get mad at her. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna find out that she like came in with like bad intentions or whatever, and then they're gonna get mad at her and punish her for it.
I'm so excited. Yes,
I am too.
so good.
I hope she gets pregnant.
I did too. Well, I mean, come on. Unless the princess in there
Like they
do
fake a pregnancy.
something, they
Like they don't
fake
want
it,
her to get
or
pregnant.
they're like, we're changing it up. This is
What if
archaic or something.
what if
What if
that was a twist? What if they didn't want, because the one guy didn't want to be a prince. He's like, oh, it's my last semester. And the one's getting out of jail. Maybe you're right. Maybe they'll be like, we don't actually. What if she either faked the pregnancy to stay, or
what if
they?
they're like slipping birth control in their food?
Can you imagine? But I
Because
don't
they
want
just
that. I
want to
want her
have
to get.
fun. They don't actually want to be tied. They don't want
No,
to do
I
what
hope
they had to deal with their dads and them. Like, they're like, this isn't the right way. So
that could be
fun.
the whole thing. I hope not. I really want. I'm here for the breeding kink.
No, but then what's gonna happen is they're gonna fall for Verdi and they're gonna like, no, I want to knock her up.
I hope so.
You know,
Or
that's
like
what it's gonna.
something,
It's
or
gonna.
one of them, maybe one of them really into it. Kind
Mhm.
of like how Sai was more into it than Nick was, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then that's what will happen. Like one will slip in there. Or maybe
I
they'll
don't.
be all for it.
Do you?
I didn't even think that that could be a possibility that the guys wouldn't actually want to get her pregnant. But I forgot that they're kind of reluctant. The ones in the
Mhm.
thing with Remy, the one was like kind of rude, like into Verity, but like rude to her. Also, I'm pretty sure that guy is the king is Verity's father. Did you
Mm.
think that too?
I think I thought that, but then wasn't. Then she kind of like blew it off,
I
right?
think it is though. I think that's
I
what
wouldn't
it's
be
gonna be.
surprised. Do you think
Yeah.
this is what Angel and Sam do? Do
Oh, they
you
said,
think
what
that
if we did this? They just
they
versus
say
happened
anyone
on
else
the
with us? Like, let's plot this out for them. We can give them like three like storylines and be like, pick which one you like.
like, do you need some new outfits? Again, you keep the old. We're not saying we'll take the old one, but it's see what I mean?
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, as you can tell, we loved Dukes. We loved all three books. We loved this last book. Did not disappoint. It was a good wrap up and continuation.
And I want to know who your favorite character was before we end. Who
My
is your favorite guy? Tristan is your favorite lord. You love them all, but Tristan's your boy. Who is your boy this time?
Remy.
Remy. Who do you think my boy was?
I know at one point it was Sai, but I feel like Pretty Nick.
Yeah, overall pretty Nick, 100%.
Yeah.
For a minute after the betrayal, like Sai was like that hero, and he just moved up in my book, and I was like, how am I loving Sai so much? I love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, pretty Nick overall, like he's my Tristan of the series. Like he's like a top book boyfriend for me.
Yeah. No, and I agree. It was really hard. This one I feel like they tied a lot, or they rotated so much for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Remy, even with the cheating, remember this was off camera and we talked after the second book and you're
Yeah.
like, how, and I was like, it was just a blowjob. It could have been much worse. Like, I just like,
nothing.
I felt for him. And for me, addiction is a really hard thing to deal with. And so like, I think maybe that's why it was like something where it was like, I'm not used to falling for the addict and dealing with their issues. So I don't know. I liked his, or I don't know, but like Sai grew on me so much. Pretty Nick. By the end, I'm like, Pretty Nick. Wow. So like, but there's this Remy.
What a character.
The whole time, all three books, Remy was up there, and then the others. But it's really hard. It's one of those things where you just start go, but yeah, I liked Pretty Nick, but you know what? I also liked Sai, and
it's one of those, which is good. It's very good, but Tristan is stand out from the other one, but I love the other two too, and then Pretty Nick is stand out for this. Like,
It's interesting rereading and re-listening.
mm-hmm.
Um, because I still love Tristan so much. That won't change. But like Killer, I'm a
Ooh,
little more I'm like, huh, like I
feeling one?
just and then like Wrath is a little bit more too. So I don't know if it's just renewing it because it's been so long since I've read
Yeah.
them.
Or if your taste is changing,
Or the
or
taste is changing, but
and
it's
maybe
funny how
knowing
like
that you
Tristan's
know
still
that
top guy. Like
perspective.
he'll do something. Like she called him a lovable asshole or stalker or something. I'm like, yeah, that's
Right?
Tristan. We love him.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. I love his controlling, but because it's out of love nature. But
Yeah,
I think Killer was pretty high up there for me before I like really fell for Tristan. Like that's the type that I go for usually. That's why I
yeah,
was so shocked that Tristan was my guy.
right.
But like he just unique, and I love
See, and I'm usually more for like the romantic
the
or the
rap.
bad boy. So I would have been more like,
I would have
yeah,
thought of you
Wrath
as
would
rap.
have been
That
mine.
would have been that's who I would have thought for you.
And
If not with
Psy and
Tristan.
Pretty Nick, I'm surprised are not because those are typically more.
I would have thought Remy for you because he was so sweet and loving, and he was like the sunshine, even though
He
he had
would look at Vinny and
addiction.
just be like, "Come here, sit on my lap while I talk to this person." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he could like look at her
Mm-hmm.
and communicate without. He was just more simple on it, more less complicated in a way with her.
Like if I had to say like who I think people's overall favorites were, I think people favored Remy, and I think people favored Raph, and then you have us real dark romance lovers that like our dark boys.
Yeah.
Our guys. I just boy sounds weird. Our dark guys.
All right, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of like things you wouldn't think of, the I thought it was really cool that the leader position ended up going to Sai after all. The one who is like meant for it.
Yes, and I love how Nick was like, yes, like he didn't
Yeah. He's
want
like,
to
I didn't
do
know
it. So,
this.
and I loved that. At first, I was scared when like one of the guys came up and was it Ballsack, which I loved. I love Ballsack.
That's a
He's like my secondary
great character.
character that I love.
That's your
I
secondary
love
hero.
him. And I love how he's like, no offense, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh, great. He's not going to give the ring. And
I
then he gives it to
know.
Sai. And I'm like, oh, it's
I was
going to
like,
go that way. I had chills.
last
I was
year,
so excited
me
because that was
too.
perfect.
And like him confronting and even talking to Killian, that was major.
Mhm.
That scene was so epic to me. I love that I felt like that was so perfectly done. Because that's how he always wanted it. He did. He just didn't have the name, and I thought that like showed more.
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
love that these new royals are changing things up
Yeah,
and for the better, like the
yeah.
system's broken and they're like, let's fix it. In their own messed up ways.
You know what would be really cool if after the Royal series finishes, we get a next generation.
I was just gonna say second gen, yes.
I mean, Verity's gonna have a baby. We already know Story's gonna have a baby. I mean,
Didn't Nick kind of have a fantasy of putting a baby in Vinny too? Like, didn't
he
he kind of?
did.
Yeah.
And we didn't go very far into the future. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe. Maybe there'll be a second generation of this lord. Wouldn't that be interesting? Especially to see like, how the kids turn out and think of their parents and
Mm-hmm.
their twist on things.
Yeah.
I mean, if they need to take a break from
Because
the
it could
drama,
even be not college. You could do high school.
you could with that. You
You
could.
could do them, and then so you're seeing them as like parents dealing with their kids being little hellions and being like, well, I did way worse. Like,
And they're forced to go into this college. They're like rebelling because they know they have to go to this college and fulfill this legacy.
yeah.
There's a lot you could do.
We got your work cut out for you.
It's like Angel and Sam, if you're watching this, I also have a pitch for counts. I do.
And I've been like fantasizing about the Barons too.
See,
So
you got favorites, I got counts. Well, it's something I always talk about a lot of wanting in books and one I wanted to write. And I'm like, well, counts would be perfect for something that I've always liked and that they kind of had hints of. So, anyways, I'm just leaving it at that.
okay. I love it. Okay. We're gonna let you guys go.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to us rant and rave and plan things. Enjoy it. Read it
we'll
again.
see you for Princess. Well, because we're never gonna stop with this series. This is like we're here
we'll see you with the princesses, and that's next year, 2023, sometime spring.
I think spring.
I think it's spring. We're expecting something.
June's technically still spring until the 21st. So I'd say spring is a healthy thing to say.
I do. Okay.
Healthy. All right.
Okay.
We'll see you for all 9 books.
All right. Bye.